Pleasure to turn to my colleague Herb Kanan, the Jerusalem Post senior contributing editor, for a conversation with Isaac Herzog, chairman of the Jewish Agency for Israel.
Thank you, Isaac Herzog, the chairman of the Jewish Agency, former head of the Labor Party. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Herb, and it's great to be at the Jerusalem Post conference.
Thank you for coming.
By the way, this is a historic institution. I mean, the Jewish Agency is 90 plus years old, following Zionism and the rebuilding of the Jewish homeland. The Jerusalem Post is just as the same.
It's been there a long time. Listen, Corona obviously has upended the world. The Jewish people are part of the world. What's it done to the Jewish world?
A staggering impact, because Jewish life is dependent on connectivity, on events, on minyan. The fact that communities are totally paralyzed is horrendous. And what we've noticed all over the world, that communities, which means kindergartens and schools, JCCs and synagogues, social services, are all under huge stop, lockdown, or paralysis. And that's a huge impact. I'm really worried about the impact that it will have on the whole cohort of young Jews who are supposed to go to camp, who are supposed to set foot in Israel, and how do we fill that gap?
Look, there's been a lot of talk. I know that in certain communities, like in South Africa, communities even in America, they're taking a huge financial hit by this thing. The federations are losing money. Organizations are having a tough time getting
including
money.
Us, by the way. We're the biggest Jewish organization in the world. Right. But what bothers me most is the fact that you can see through this crisis where communities are weak, or where they are aging, or where they are more frail. What we've done, as basically the convener of global Jewish life, we've established a special loan fund, interest-free, together with our allies at the Jewish Federations of North America and Keren Hayesod. That fund has done remarkable things. Over 70 communities received support from this fund in the sum of almost $10 million. And really, we injected oxygen that enabled communities to go on.
The money goes to what? It goes to...
The money goes to the umbrella organization of a community aimed for a special cause. For example, the Educational Institute, or the synagogue, or Jewish Life. It was fascinating to study the needs of communities. Some communities are under huge pressure because of financial turndown in the economy. Take Latin America or take South Africa. Because of mortality, high mortality. Take France, a very high mortality in relative terms in the Jewish community. Or the fact that the communities are weaker. Take Italy, for example. So you've got 22 small communities, 2 relatively bigger communities, Milan and Rome. All in all, 20,000 Jews basically found themselves in total paralysis. And without our help, I don't know where they would have been, but we really assisted them dramatically.
I mean, do you see this as a paradigmatic shift? I mean, up until now, right, the model has been pretty much that Jewish communities abroad support Israel. Now you have a situation where Israel is sending money abroad. Is that a changed model?
Well, it is clearly a change of paradigm. And I think it reflects reality, meaning the emergence of Israel as the true center of Jewish life. You've got 2 main pillars of Jewish life, Israel and North America. I always call it Jerusalem and Babylon, and I believe that Jerusalem and Babylon should correspond in unanimity and not in a rift. And that's a whole big issue which we were discussing pre-COVID.
Right.
And other communities, look, there are hundreds of communities around the world. But all in all, the truth of the matter is that Israel is emerging as a place that sets example, that gives advice, and in a global platform which I have established together with the Minister of Diaspora Affairs, Omer Yankelevich, which includes all 30 Jewish global or regional organizations, we are dealing with exactly the challenges of current day communities in education, in security, in leadership, and so forth and so on. And that's where the paradigm emerges even further.
I mean, but in the whole Zionist ideology, however, I mean, is the Jewish Agency's role to strengthen and support communities?
It's a beautiful question.
Diaspora?
We have the most incredible history, and I am really, I'm always awed when I walk up in the morning. I walk into my room in the Jewish Agency building in Jerusalem, because I know for about 2 decades, David Ben-Gurion would walk into that room. And that's when he led our nation to independence. And that's where he led our independent state in its first decade, in this room. So in those days, it was commissioned to bring about the national homeland of the Jewish people.
Right.
And thereafter, it was commissioned to bring Aliyah, immigration, to Israel. We brought over 4 million Olim, and we brought a record in 2019 of 35,000 Olim from 45 countries. In the last generation, we were commissioned to focus heavily on connecting Jews to one another and to the state of Israel with immersive experiences which are very well known. So all in all of these, including impacting Israeli society and bringing the voice of the Jewish world to Israeli society and to body politic of Israel, is our challenges, and that's what our objectives are.
Look, you mentioned Aliyah. I mean, there's been talk now because Jewish communities are struggling a lot under the corona, that a lot of people in the States, in France, in Britain are talking about making Aliyah, because if you look at the numbers, our situation here is pretty good. Do you see that? Do you see an increase?
I say, of course, there are many push and pull factors that impact many of our viewers all over the world. And we project a big wave of Aliyah of about 250,000 Jews in the next 3 to 5 years.
From where? From
all over the world. Today I spoke to the head of our global center. We have, let's say, CRM, Customer Relations Management Center, meaning people who want to make Aliyah, call us on a 1-800 number almost all day. And he said to me, Mr. Chairman, I'm in this center for 10 years, and we never had it this way. Right. It doesn't stop from all over the world. So I believe it's a major challenge, and I call upon the government of Israel to come forward and finalize a national plan to receive these Olim who are going to make a huge impact on our economy and our life. It requires not only our partners in the Ministry of Absorption and Immigration, which are doing great work, but a real national plan where all facets of absorbing so many people will be implemented.
250,000 people. That's like in the early 1990s with the big wave.
Early 1990s you had 1 million. You had 1 million in 2 years. These are unprecedented numbers. But still, we haven't seen such a wave.
What's the impetus? I mean, is it healthcare? Is it anti-Semitism?
So I said there are many factors. One is that Israel is viewed reasonably, despite all the criticism and the hype, as a place that functioned well during the corona. Secondly, people love this place. I mean, once they're here and they were here on vacation, and many others said to themselves, one day I'll make Aliyah, or I'll check it. And now perhaps they came to the conclusion as they are in lockdown. Thirdly, clearly the medical system, which is one of the best in the world. And we have really top institutions and doctors. Fourth, anti-Semitism. We unfortunately project a rise in anti-Semitism. We see it de facto all around. And I think fifth is like fulfillment of Jewish life. The people thinking, where will be my future? Will my community have a future? And many questions that come about. So yes, you will see clearly a rise in Aliyah.
And is the government making plans now?
So we are discussing it both with the Ministry of Absorption and Immigration, Aliyah and Klita. The Minister, Pnina Tamano-Shata, she came at age 4 from Ethiopia. And it's always exciting for me to work with her because we are still focusing on bringing more Jews from Ethiopia. But at the end, it requires budgeting and less politicking and getting down to tachlis and understanding the great challenge and opportunity I believe Prime Minister Netanyahu realizes the opportunity. I think the government, which is led by both him and Benny Gantz, should put this as a major priority in the budgeting and in the operational side. We are always partners. We've been there. It's our expertise.
Great. That's all we have time for, unfortunately.
Perhaps you are one of our clients once.
I was indeed.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Appreciate
The
it.
best, and
All the best.
hope everybody stays healthy and strong, and we hopefully will emerge from this crisis in the foreseeable future.
Amen, amen. Thank
Toda
you.
rabba.